Hey guys, well it's been a few weeks since we last chatted and lots been happening. There's not been much running content filmed, again not because it didn't do it, but just because, yeah, life and dark early mornings. We are just in a bit of a recovery week after the Sydney HOKA Half Marathon. That was sort of our B race before we get started into full marathon prep, and yeah, we had a good day. It was quite warm. Started about 7:10 in the morning, so considering most of my runs are normally done by then, it was much hotter than normal normally running in, even though we're in the middle of May in Australia. So obviously coming into winter, so yeah, great day, good vibe. Worked really hard at the start to get sort of into a bit of a rhythm. Got into a nice rhythm through the middle, sort of 10k's or so, and then you hit from 16k's onwards. You hit some big hills and then quite a hilly finish into the domain in Sydney. So yeah, finished with a PB 1:44.44. The goal was to go sub 1:45, so we scraped in with 16 seconds to spare. But yeah, great day, and quite happy with the prep into that, and a few things to work on, just considering how we fuel moving forward. I felt like the gel's got a bit too sweet with the heat, so how are we looking at some options around fueling as we go into the marathon, when we're looking at close to 4 hours, hopefully close to 4 hours versus an hour 44. So yeah, this week's been a recovery week. Did a bit of a 5k jog this morning just to see how the legs are feeling. They're pretty good. We've recovered quite well, and in touch with no injuries. And so next week we're kicking off our 16-week marathon block. Straight back into, I think next week's about 37k's. Starts off with a 10k easy run on Monday. So for a lot of people that's a lot of volume to start with, but coming off the half marathon prep, then yeah, I feel like it's quite manageable. It does ramp up pretty quickly. I looked at the plan. There's 6 weeks across the plan that are higher volume than I've done before, and higher volume than this last half marathon prep, which is to be expected. But there'll be quite a bit of work to recover and keep the body healthy during that period, as well as the mind. It's very easy to not see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think especially a 16-week block's a long time, and when the volume gets high, on top of all the other life stresses, as well as just fitting in the time. When those runs get longer, I'm going to have to play around with my schedule. There's one weekend where it's actually out my peak week. I know that I'm going to have to do my long run on the Friday, because it won't work on that weekend. So yeah, look, it's all been going really well. The fundraising is coming along. We've got a big push now into the last effort before the fundraising ticks off, and we get to hit our at least $3,000 mark. That's the goal. If anything more than that is a bonus. So yeah, we'll try and take you along the journey of the 16 weeks and see if we can get a bit more content, even though it still will be early mornings, most of it. It still will be dark, it will be cold. We had an 8 °C morning this morning, so definitely the cooler weather is on its way, despite beautiful sunny days as well. So yeah, look forward to chatting more in the next 16 weeks, and yeah, thanks for the support so far.